France won the World Cup in 2018. They were the best team at that tournament, and nobody seriously argued otherwise. They had the perfect blend of defensive organization, midfield control, and devastating counterattacking speed. They were clinical. They were cold. They were built exactly the way World Cup winners are built. And then something happened. The players got older. The team got better on paper, and somehow France became harder to watch and easier to beat at the same time. France in 2026 have a squad that looks extraordinary when you read the names on paper. Mbappe, Griezmann, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Theo Hernandez. On paper, this is a top 3 squad in the tournament without question. But football is not played on paper, and France have a very specific problem that a list of names cannot fix. The first problem is Mbappe. Not because Mbappe is not good enough. He is the most dangerous player in this World Cup, and possibly the best player on the planet right now. The problem is that France are completely structured around him in a way that creates a fragility nobody talks about. When Mbappe is on form, France are unstoppable. When Mbappe has an off day, France look like a team missing its spine. One player should never be that central to a World Cup winning team's identity. Spain 2010 did not have one player that central. Germany 2014 did not. The teams that win it are always bigger than any individual. France in 2026 are not bigger than Mbappe. They are defined by him. The second problem is the dressing room. France have had well-documented internal tensions at multiple tournaments. 2010 was a disaster of team unity. 2022 had reported tensions between different factions of the squad. A dressing room at a World Cup is under pressure that club football never replicates. 7 weeks together, away from family, every result scrutinized by an entire nation. Under those conditions, small tensions become large ones, and large ones become results on the pitch. France's history shows they are more vulnerable to this than almost any other major nation. The third problem is Didier Deschamps. He is one of the most successful international managers in history. That is a fact, and it deserves respect. But his style of football has become increasingly cautious and reactive in recent tournaments. France under Deschamps do not impose themselves on opponents. They wait, they absorb, they counter. Against weaker opponents, this works perfectly. Against the genuinely elite defensive team in a quarterfinal or semifinal, this approach becomes a problem because the counterattack opportunities disappear, and France have no plan when the counterattack is not available. The fourth problem is their record when they are favorites. France were favorites going into Euro 2021. They lost to Switzerland on penalties in the round of 16. France were favorites at the 2022 World Cup final and led Argentina. They drew, they went to extra time, they lost on penalties. Being the favorite is the heaviest burden in knockout football. France know this better than most because they have carried it and dropped it more than once in recent memory. There is also a physical problem in 2026. Several key French players are coming off injury-disrupted seasons at club level. The preparation window before a World Cup is short. Players who are not at full physical sharpness going into a tournament rarely find it during one. The margins in World Cup knockout matches are too small for a player operating at 80% to make the difference. France will reach the knockout rounds comfortably. They will be dangerous in every match they play. Mbappe will score goals that people remember for decades. But when the semifinal arrives and they face a team that has studied them for months, removed the counterattack space, and identified every tension point in that dressing room, the questions will be there again. The same questions that were there in 2021 and 2022. The most talented squad does not always win. Sometimes, the most talented squad is too talented to be a team. The game has not changed. You have. Welcome to FIFASect.